Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins History, spending it on a cup of coffee or dropping it in a change jar. Yet, that very coin could be hiding a value that could change your life. Today we are diving deep into the world of the United States of America Jefferson nickel, specifically the 1990 Mint Mark edition, a 5-cent piece that many people overlook but collectors know can hold incredible worth under the right conditions. This is not just a coin, it's a piece of American history, a symbol of legacy, and potentially a treasure worth far more than its face value. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, it features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. Over the years, the design has undergone changes, but the 1990 nickel remains a fascinating part of the series because of its subtle details, potential mint errors, and the pristine condition in which some examples are found. Every coin tells a story, and the 1990 Jefferson nickel is no different. For collectors, it's not just about the coin itself, but about how perfectly it survived the decades since it was struck. Now, let's talk about the importance of the mint mark. In 1990, Jefferson nickels were struck at several mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco for proof issues. Each mint mark can make a huge difference in a coin's desirability and price. A P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco can be found just next to Monticello on the reverse. While most coins minted this year entered circulation and show plenty of wear, the few that survived in pristine condition, untouched and carefully preserved, have the power to fetch jaw-dropping prices at auctions. Collectors always look for sharp strikes, clean surfaces, and high grades given by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC. The higher the grade, the higher the value. A 1990 Jefferson nickel that grades MS67 or higher can suddenly become a prize coin worth thousands. But sometimes, it's not just the grade that matters. Error coins, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, can turn a common nickel into an extraordinary one. These minting mistakes are like hidden treasures, waiting for a lucky finder to uncover them. Think for a moment, how many of us have jars of nickels lying around at home, never giving them a second thought? One of those could hold a 1990 Jefferson nickel in brilliant uncirculated condition, sitting unnoticed, just waiting to be discovered. That's why coin collecting is so exciting. It blends history, rarity, and the thrill of treasure hunting into one unforgettable journey. The Jefferson nickel series has always been popular, but coins from the 1990s are gaining more attention as collectors look for modern rarities. People often underestimate modern coins, assuming that only coins from the 1800s or early 1900s can bring big money. But the truth is, even coins from recent decades can surprise you with massive value if they are rare enough or in exceptional condition. So, what makes the 1990 Jefferson nickel truly special? It's the combination of scarcity in high grades and the fact that so many were heavily circulated. This means that finding a flawless example is like striking gold. When one appears at auction, collectors go head-to-head in bidding wars, driving the price far beyond what most people would ever imagine for a 5-cent piece. If you're someone who enjoys checking your change, this is definitely a coin to look out for. It may take patience, but imagine the excitement of spotting a shiny, well-preserved 1990 nickel with a clear mint mark and no visible wear. That small discovery could be your ticket to an incredible payday. And now here's the part you've been waiting for. While most Jefferson nickels from 1990 are only worth face value or a few dollars in uncirculated condition, the rarest and most perfect examples, especially those with unique errors or extremely high grades, have shocked collectors by selling for as much as $60,000 in words. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the United States of America Jefferson nickel from 1984 with its mint mark, a coin that might just be sitting unnoticed in your wallet, your coin jar, or even hidden in circulation. At first glance, the Jefferson nickel from this year looks just like the millions of others produced, but as with so many treasures in the world of coin collecting, the smallest details can transform it into something of incredible value. The Jefferson nickel has been a beloved coin for collectors since it was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Its design, featuring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his famous Monticello home on the reverse, is one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. By 1984, this coin was already a staple in American pockets. Millions were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, making them seem common and easy to overlook. But collectors know better, because among the millions, there are rare errors, unique minting characteristics, and well-preserved examples that stand out and become highly valuable. When looking at a 1984 Jefferson nickel, the first thing to check is the mint mark. The letter, whether it's a P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, tells you where the coin was struck. But beyond that, certain mint marks carry special significance due to variations in strike quality, limited production, or even mistakes during the minting process. For example, a weakly struck mint mark or a misplaced one could make the coin worth far more than its face value. Collectors also prize coins in exceptional condition. A coin that has spent decades in circulation will show signs of wear, scratches, faded details, and loss of sharpness in Jefferson's portrait and the Monticello building. But every now and then, someone discovers a coin that somehow survived the passage of time without being heavily used. Such a coin, graded at the highest levels by professional grading companies, can fetch astronomical prices because it represents not just history but rarity in pristine form. Errors are another key factor. Imagine a 1984 nickel that was struck off-center, or one that has a double die error, where the design elements appear doubled due to misalignment during striking. Even tiny imperfections, invisible to the casual eye, can be like gold to collectors. For example, a doubled inscription, a die crack, or unusual planchet flaws can all drastically increase the coin's desirability and market value. The fascination with the 1984 Jefferson nickel lies in the fact that these coins were never expected to be rare. They were everyday coins, minted in the millions, used for decades in shops, vending machines, and laundromats. And yet, within those millions, a few select examples have become legends in the numismatic community. These rare finds remind us that treasures often hide in plain sight, waiting for someone observant enough to notice them. Think about it. How many times have you spent nickels without a second thought? How many jars of change sit untouched in homes, never checked for hidden value? The Jefferson nickel proves that even a small coin, worth just 5 cents at face value, can carry a story, a history, and, in some cases, a life-changing sum of money. Collectors, historians, and treasure hunters all understand this thrill, the chance that the next coin they inspect could be the one that changes everything. So, if you happen to stumble across a 1984 Jefferson nickel with its mint mark intact, don't be too quick to spend it. Take a closer look. Examine the details carefully, the strike, the shine, the clarity of Jefferson's features, and the sharpness of Monticello's lines. If it's exceptionally well preserved, if it carries an unusual mint error, or if it belongs to one of the rare varieties known to collectors, you could be holding on to something extraordinary. These coins serve as a reminder that history is alive in our pockets. They connect us to a time when nickels bought candy, when coins were the heartbeat of daily transactions, and when the U.S. Mint was producing pieces that would go on to capture the imagination of collectors decades later. And while most 1984 nickels may only ever be worth 5 cents, a small handful defy the odds and soar in value, becoming treasures sought after by coin enthusiasts worldwide. Today, we're going to dive into one such coin that has captured the attention of collectors for decades, the United States of America Jefferson nickel 5 cents from 1972 with its mint mark, a coin that might look ordinary at first glance but has the potential to completely surprise you with its worth. The Jefferson nickel series began back in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel, and since then it has remained one of the most widely circulated coins in the country. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the coin honors Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, and on the reverse side proudly displays his home, Monticello. These coins have been struck for decades, but certain years, mint marks, and conditions have produced pieces so rare that they stand apart from the billions of others in circulation. The 1972 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins, and it's one you should definitely keep an eye out for. Now, let's take a closer look at the details. In 1972, Jefferson Nickels were minted in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint mark tells its own story. The Philadelphia coins from that year originally carried no mint mark, making them recognizable by their clean design. The Denver mint pieces bore the small d, while San Francisco coins often carried the s and were produced in proof form, meant for collectors. Each of these mint marks matters tremendously because rarity and value often depend on where the coin was struck, how many were produced, and how many survived in high-quality condition. Condition is a major factor when determining the true worth of any Jefferson nickel. Coins that have been in circulation for decades will usually show signs of wear, scratches, faded details, or smooth surfaces. However, if you happen to find a 1972 Jefferson nickel in mint state condition, perhaps with crisp lines on Jefferson's hair, sharp lettering, and full steps on Monticello, then you're looking at something far more valuable than a simple 5 cents. Collectors especially prize full steps nickels, where every detail on the Monticello steps remains clearly visible without breaks. This feature is rare, and it skyrockets the value of the coin when found, but condition isn't the only thing that sets these coins apart. Errors and varieties make the 1972 Jefferson nickel even more fascinating. For example, there are known double-die obverse nickels, where the lettering or even parts of Jefferson's profile appear doubled under magnification. Then there are off-center strikes, planchet errors, and clipped planchets that create unusual shapes and designs. These mistakes, made during the minting process, are considered treasures because of their rarity, and collectors eagerly seek them out. It's also worth noting that during the early 1970s, coin production was undergoing changes and challenges, meaning that quality control wasn't always perfect. As a result, error coins slipped into circulation more often than we might imagine. This makes the 1972 Jefferson nickel a series worth inspecting carefully if you ever come across one in your spare change. Imagine finding one of these nickels tucked away in a jar, a drawer, or even received back in change from a grocery store purchase. To most people, it would just be a common coin, passed along without a second thought. But to those who know what to look for, sharp details, mint marks, special varieties, it could mean holding on to a piece of history and potentially securing a life-changing discovery. The thrill of coin collecting is that you never really know what you might have in your hands until you take the time to look closely. A Jefferson nickel from 1972 might not stand out immediately, but under the right conditions, it has proven to be an extraordinary find. And the stories of collectors discovering rare nickels in the most unexpected places continue to inspire and excite enthusiasts everywhere. So, the next time you're counting your change or sorting through an old collection, take a closer look at those nickels. Inspect the mint marks carefully, check for sharp steps on Monticello, and pay attention to any unusual features or doubling. You might just be surprised at what you uncover. Because while it may seem like just another 5-cent coin, the 1972 Jefferson nickel with its unique characteristics and potential rarity has amazed collectors with its hidden value. Today we're talking about the Jefferson nickel from 1989 with its mint mark, and you'll be surprised at how this ordinary-looking coin could actually be a hidden fortune. The Jefferson nickel has been a part of American coinage since 1938, created to honor the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson. Its design has remained iconic for decades, featuring Jefferson's profile on the obverse and his famous Monticello home on the reverse. While billions of nickels have been produced over the years, it's the small details, unique errors, and certain mint marks that make some of these coins incredibly rare and valuable. Now let's focus on the year 1989. At first glance, the 1989 Jefferson nickel doesn't seem unusual. Millions were minted across different locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of them went straight into circulation and have been used countless times in pocket change. But here's the exciting part: within those millions, a small fraction exists with errors, unusual striking characteristics, or simply pristine, untouched conditions that collectors go crazy for. This is what transforms an everyday 5-cent coin into something worth thousands of dollars. When you look at your 1989 nickel, the first thing you'll want to do is check for its mint mark, which can be found right next to Jefferson's portrait. The letter P represents Philadelphia, D stands for Denver, and S was used for proof coins struck in San Francisco. Proof coins are made with special care and are usually intended for collectors, but sometimes they find their way into circulation. If you happen to find one, especially in flawless condition, it could be worth a significant premium over face value. Errors are where things get even more interesting. Double die strikes, off-center strikes, and coins with planchet mistakes are highly desirable. Imagine a nickel where Jefferson's face looks doubled or the lettering appears shadowed. That's a double die, and it can dramatically increase the value. Or picture a nickel that wasn't struck perfectly in the center, leaving parts of the design cut off or shifted. These types of coins are rare and always attract collectors at auctions. Even small variations in the way the design was stamped, or faintly visible repunched mint marks, can make the difference between a nickel worth only 5 cents and one that collectors are willing to fight over. Another factor is condition. Coins that have been in circulation for decades usually show signs of wear, scratches, faded details, and a dull finish. But a 1989 Jefferson nickel that has never been used, often called mint state or graded MS by professionals, can be worth a fortune. High-grade examples graded MS66, MS67, or higher are extremely difficult to come by because most coins from everyday circulation never survive in such pristine quality. Collectors are willing to pay thousands for these high-grade examples, especially when they also feature a rare mint mark or error. Let's not forget the role of collectors themselves. Coin collecting is not just a hobby, it's an entire world filled with auctions, dealers, and passionate enthusiasts who know the value of rarity and perfection. When a rare 1989 Jefferson nickel comes up for sale, the competition can drive prices sky high. What seems like an ordinary coin to one person might be a prized treasure to another. This is why it's always worth looking at your change carefully. You never know if a small piece of metal in your hand could be life-changing. Today we're diving into the Jefferson nickel from 1985, a coin that looks ordinary to the untrained eye but has proven itself to be one of the hidden gems of American coinage. Believe it or not, certain versions of this 1985 5-cent piece have shocked collectors by selling for jaw-dropping amounts. The Jefferson Nickels series began back in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it has become one of the most collected coins in U.S. history. The obverse proudly shows the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, while the reverse features his famous Virginia estate, Monticello. It's a design that millions of Americans have seen for decades, but what makes the 1985 nickel so special is not just the design, it's the rare mint marks, conditions, and errors that set some of these coins apart from the rest. In 1985, Jefferson Nickels were minted in different locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The mint mark tells the story of where your coin came from, and you'll find it right beside Jefferson's portrait. A P stands for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and an S indicates San Francisco, which struck proof coins. Proof coins are made with extra care, having sharp details and mirror-like finishes, and while they were mostly sold to collectors, every once in a while one makes its way into circulation. If you're lucky enough to spot a proof from 1985 in perfect condition, you're already holding something far more valuable than an everyday nickel, but mint marks are just the beginning. Errors and variations are the real game changers. Some coins from 1985 were struck slightly off-center, leaving Jefferson's portrait shifted to one side. Others might have doubling in the date or lettering, known as a double die, which gives the appearance of a shadow or duplicate image. These types of mistakes weren't intentional, but they are extremely sought after. Collectors love them because they tell a story of how coins were made and how unusual accidents slip past quality control. Even tiny differences like repunched mint marks, where the letter was stamped more than once, can transform an average coin into a collector's dream. Condition is another key factor that separates ordinary nickels from extraordinary ones. Think about how many times a coin circulates, passing through hands, cash registers, and pockets before it ends up worn down and scratched. Finding a 1985 Jefferson nickel in pristine, untouched mint state condition is like searching for a needle in a haystack. Most coins from that year are heavily worn, making high-grade examples incredibly scarce. Professional grading services evaluate these coins under magnification and assign grades like MS65, MS66, or even higher. The higher the grade, the sharper the details and the greater the shine, and that's where the real money is. Collectors will pay a premium for coins that look as if they just rolled off the minting press decades ago. The world of coin collecting is full of stories where people accidentally stumbled upon rare nickels without even realizing what they had. Imagine going through a jar of spare change, spotting a nickel from 1985, and later discovering that it's a rare error coin in excellent condition worth tens of thousands of dollars. These finds happen more often than you'd think, because so many people simply overlook their coins. That's why it's always worth slowing down and inspecting the nickels in your wallet or coin jar. Auctions are where the excitement truly comes alive. When a rare 1985 Jefferson nickel appears, collectors compete fiercely, driving the price higher and higher. Dealers know the value, seasoned collectors recognize the rarity, and new enthusiasts are eager to join the bidding wars. This combination of passion and competition pushes certain coins into record-breaking territory. Now here's the part you've been waiting for. While most 1985 Jefferson nickels will always be worth just 5 cents, the rarest examples in pristine mint state condition with unusual characteristics have reached incredible amounts in the auction world. Believe it or not, one of these seemingly ordinary nickels has sold for $83,000 in words.